Yan po si Ma'am Eva po. Nakapasok lang po.
Okay, pero kanina yung tatlo plus end user will become po. Okay na yan.
Opo. Okay na po, kakapasok lang ni Ma'am Eva. Sir. Opo. Ito na po, okay na po. Sige po.
Hi, ma'am. Sabi niyo yung suwewet doon.
We have a forum na.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so since we have no quorum, the meeting is now called to order. Secretariat, please lead the prayer before we start.
Yes, Mr. Chair. And our request, Mr. Ezra Peñahuas to lead the prayer.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Let us all remember we're in the holy presence of the Lord. Holy God, you made us in your image and likeness to be stewards of your creation. We embrace the gifts you have given us and vow to use them today to serve you and others through the work that we do. Please bless our work, Lord. Amen.
Okay. Thank you. The Secretariat, please make the roll call.
Yes, sir. Again, Mr. Ezra Peñahuas, please do the roll call. Thank you. Easy. Please do the roll call.
Start na po.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Captain Donaldo Mendoza. Okay. Engineer Arnold Balucating.
Present online.
Attorney Danjun Lucas. General Ernesto Milo. Engineer Elgin Gonzalez.
Present online.
Attorney Frank Marty.
Present.
Engineer Raul.
Present online.
Engineer Michael Ilagan.
Present.
Engineer Eva Lazatin. Engineer Joe Frantore Franca. Engineer Tolosa. Attorney Godfrey Raguto.
Present online. With that, Mr. Chair, having 3 regular members plus 1 end user representative for the opening bids for the projects for the ADMS. We have a quorum, Mr. Chair. The General Milo is an official travel, Mr. Chair. And it be noted, Mr. Chair, that the other participants for today's meeting is at the AS conference room due to the unavailability of the conference room at the 4th floor. We have also a secretariat there, physically present right now, and technical working group to assist in the opening of the bids for the first agenda of today's session.
Okay, Secretariat, what is the title of the project for bid opening today?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would like to present the agenda for today's meeting. Yung nakikita na po, Mr. Chair.
Okay, kita na.
Okay na po. Okay na po. Medyo ano lang, pixelated lang yung image. But first in the agenda, Mr. Chair, is the submission and opening of bids for the project entitled Energy Replacement of 600 kilowatt chiller at Iloilo International Airport with the ABC of 13,470,127.09. The end user is the ADMS, Mr. Chair. As for the record, Mr. Chair, we have two Air Conditioning Incorporated and TrueTemp Corporation. May I now ask the technical working group and the secretariat physically present right now in the ANS conference room.
Before we start,
Rita Linda. Yes, sir.
before we take from these two bidders,
May I request representatives from TrueTemp Corporation and LCD Refrigeration Air Conditioning Incorporated to any representative from TrueTemp Corporation, please state your name and position or the designation to the company you represent. Yes, TrueTemp, representative from TrueTemp, you're recognized. Sige po.
Yes po, good afternoon. Cheryl Ortega, Jomer Etchon, and Jamie Makapag from TrueTemp Corporation po.
Okay. How about LCD Refrigeration? Ay, may kasama po kayo, ma'am? From TrueTemp? May kasama po kayong representative from TrueTemp?
Yes po, our manager, Mr. Jomer Etchon. And engineering team po namin is Jamie Makapagal.
Okay. Pwedeng paki-spell up na lang po yung names nyo dito sa ano. Nandito na po. Sige po. So, how about sa LCD Refrigeration Air Conditioning Incorporated? Any representative? Meron po ba? LCD Refrigeration Air Conditioning Incorporated. I think wala po yata, Mr. Chair, but the request from Build Trade, Edrocon, and Sir Malcolm.
From
saan po kayo mag-ano, ma'am? Sa pre-bid po mamaya or mamaya? Build Trade, Edrocon, tsaka
sir,
Sir
hi, sir,
Malcolm.
good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
NVSP Construction and Development po for pre-bid ng construction of collection building at CAAP complex.
Okay. Mamaya pa siguro, ma'am. We'll siguro after 50 to 30 minutes mag-rejoin po kayo.
Okay po, sige.
Please, sige, ma'am. You may now be excused. How about sa Evercon po? Saka kay Sir Malcolm. Saka Jason Huwa.
Good afternoon. Participating for pre-bid for VHF transceiver.
Mamaya pa po yun, sir. Siguro more or less 30 minutes po. 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Or 30 minutes siguro, sir. Please rejoin.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
go ahead, Tony.
Mr. Chair, for the project emergency replacement of one unit 600 kW chiller at Iloilo International Airport. We only have two submitted bids. It's from LDC Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Incorporated, and one from True Temp Corporation, Mr. Chair. Um, we have here physically present at ANS conference room, Mr. Chair, the representative of LDC Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Incorporated, Mr. Chair. Sir, may we request, sir, that the representative to introduce his name and the company he represents, sir, for records purposes.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yes, po.
Good afternoon. By the way, I'm congratulating that from LDC Refrigeration, Iloilo branch. And the branch of
Thank you, sir. That's our only bidder here physically present, Mr. Chair. I think the other bidder, the True Temp Corporation, is present online.
Yes. Yes. She introduced herself previously. Okay. So before we proceed with the opening, may I request the other present bidders who are not involved in this project to temporarily move out from the room, and then we will accept you later on when we discuss the projects that wherein you are interested with. So only the two bidders are requested to stay for the bid opening, please. Okay, as TWG, you could proceed now with the opening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We will proceed. We will proceed with the opening of the bid from True Temp Corporation. To the representative of True Temp Corporation, sir, can you confirm if this is your submitted bid? It is flashed on the screen of Mr. Francis Paul Alcantara. Can you now see the screen, sir, of Mr. Paul? Is this the document that you submitted? Please confirm, sir.
Yes, sir. Confirming it, sir.
Yes, we can confirm.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Permission to proceed with the opening, Mr. Chair.
Proceed.
So the submitted envelope of True Temp Corporation is sealed and properly marked.
Sir, Attorney Frank. May I request Evercon builders to leave po muna. The other bidders who are not part of the opening of bids po. Chair Arniel, Raules.
Good afternoon po. Sige po. Bali magsasali po kami sa sir, sa construction of
Pre-bid?
Sa pre-bid po, sir.
Mamaya pa po yun, sir. Kindly leave muna.
Okay po, sige po.
After a while, sir. Opo, please.
Attorney Bads, if I may.
Salamat po.
If I may, Attorney Bads, may I request the Secretariat, the one who's controlling the admission of the participants, to please remove those bidders who are not yet participating for this particular project. Secretariat, please. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Will do po.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, inside.
Mr. Chair, inside the main envelope are two envelopes, the original technical component and the original financial component. The technical component has tabbings Sign each page and with pagination. Checklist, please.
Technical component checklist. Valid field jobs registration certificate.
Certificate of PhilJobs registration. Uh, Platinum membership, valid until April 25, 2023. Submitted.
Registration certificates of the SEC, DTI, or CDA for cooperatives or its equivalent documents.
SEC certificate, registration date, March 4, 2002. Submitted.
Mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive zone or areas.
Mayor's permit, issued at City of Binyan, Laguna. Expiration date, December 31, 2022. Submitted.
Tax clearance.
Tax clearance, valid until February 2, 2023. Submitted.
Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any.
Statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, submitted.
Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, similar to the contract to be bid.
Statement of single largest completed contract similar to the contract to be bid, submitted.
Original copy of bid security, if in the form of surety bonds, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration.
Bid security in the form of bid securing declaration, signed and notarized, submitted.
Conformity with the technical specifications, which may include production or delivery schedule, manpower requirements, and or after sale or parts if applicable.
Mr. Chair, may we request the Secretariat to read out again the requirement, considering that I guess they mix up the document.
Okay, Secretariat, please read out again the requirement.
Ms. Eloisa, Ma'am Len.
Omnibus sworn statement, signed and notarized, submitted.
The supplier's audited financial statements showing, among others, the supplier's total and current assets and liabilities stamp received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission.
Audited financial statement, stamp received by the BIR on April 5, 2022, submitted.
The prospective bidder's computation of an FCC or a committed line of credit from a universal or commercial bank in lieu of its NFCC computation.
NFCC in the amount of 1,120,170,500 pesos, submitted.
If applicable, a duly signed joint venture agreement in case the joint venture is already in existence.
Not applicable.
That's all for the checklist, sir.
The technical component of TrueTemp is rated as passed. Next is the documents from LDC refrigeration and
Okay, proceed with the opening. The second bidder.
Sir, kindly confirm if this is your submitted bid. Okay, thank you. The main envelope has two envelopes inside, the technical envelope and the financial component envelope. The technical component has tabbing. Sign each page and with pagination. Checklist, please.
Technical component checklist. Valid field jobs registration certificate, platinum membership.
Certificate of field jobs registration, platinum membership. Valid until February 1, 2023, submitted.
Registration certificate from the SEC, BPI, or CDA for cooperatives or its equivalent documents.
SEC certificate registration date, January 21, 1997, submitted.
Mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive zones or areas.
Mayor's permit issued at Bacolod City, expiration date December 31, 2022, submitted.
Tax clearance for executive number 398, series of 2005.
Tax clearance valid until February 8, 2023, submitted.
Statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid.
Statement of all completed government and private contracts, submitted.
Statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, similar to the contract to be bid.
SLCC, submitted.
Original copy of bid security, if in the form of surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration.
Bid security in the form of bid securing declaration, signed and notarized, submitted.
Conformity with the technical specifications, which may include production or delivery schedule, manpower requirements, and or after sale or parts if applicable.
Conformity of technical specifications, submitted.
Original duly signed omnibus sworn statement, and if applicable, original notarized secretary's certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original special power of attorney for all members of the joint venture, giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the OSS and do acts to represent the bidder.
Omnibus sworn statement, signed and duly notarized, submitted.
Suppliers' audited financial statements showing, among others, the supplier's total and current assets and liabilities, stamp received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institution for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission.
Audited financial statement, date of filing April 30, 2021, submitted.
Prospective bidder's computation of NFCC or a committed line of credit from a universal or commercial bank in lieu of its NFCC computation.
NFCC in the amount of 374,699,460 pesos, submitted.
That's all for the technical component.
The technical component of LDC Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Incorporated, rated as pass. Mr. Chair, permission to open the financial component.
Proceed.
First is from True Time Corporation. The financial component has stabbing, kindly state participators, effective fee.
Your last page.
Date form submitted.
Original of duly signed and accomplished price schedules.
TWG, anong issue?
Mr. Chair, we are verifying the checklist. For a moment, sir.
Okay.
May we request again, Mr. Chair, the BAC Secretariat to reread the project requirement.
Secretariat, please do the request.
Tapos wala.
Price schedules as contained in the bill of quantities and the bill of materials submitted, Mr. Chair.
Secretariat, continue.
The financial bid of TrueTemp Corporation is 12,500,000 pesos with no discount. And within the 12,500,000 pesos with no discount. Next financial component is from LBC. The refrigeration and storage. Where the The financial component, topic, time, each page, and with pagination. Checklist, please.
Financial component checklist. Original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form.
Bid form submitted.
Original of duly signed and accomplished price schedules or bill of quantities, bill of materials for good offered from abroad and for good offered from within the Philippines.
Price schedule as contained in the bill of quantities and bill of materials submitted, Mr. Chair.
Financial bid.
Financial bid of LDC Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Incorporated
Is 12,200,034 pesos with no discount. 12,234 pesos. Sorry, 12,200,034 pesos. Okay.
With that, Mr. Chair, the technical working group hereby recommends that the bid proposal of LDC Refrigeration Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Incorporated and True Temp Corporation be subjected to bid evaluation to certain any arithmetical or mathematical errors and to determine the completeness of bids for consideration and approval of the committee, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, TWG. To the members of the BAC, do you have clarification, comment, or motion? Or the recommendation of TWG to conduct bid evaluation on the 2 submitted bid for this project?
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Elmer.
To adopt the recommendation of the technical working group to conduct bid evaluation on the submitted bid of the 2 bidders, LDC Refrigeration and True Temp. Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any second the motion?
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Arnel. So with the recommendation, first motion and second motion for the conduct of bid evaluation of the 2 submitted bid for this project is hereby adopted by the board. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we would like to inform our bidders that we will be notifying them of the results of the bid evaluation. Sirs, thank you for participating. We will just send you a letter po. Maraming salamat po, sir. Thank you po.
Okay, Secretariat, please request the other bidder to leave from the room and advise those prospective bidders to join the virtual meeting for the next agenda.
Yes, sir, will do. At the case, kindly accept now the participants for the next agenda, which is the pre-bid. And I'll present the next agenda, Mr. Chair. First in the pre-bid of the following projects. First in the list is the supply and delivery of 10 watts VHF AM transceiver for various airports with an ADC of 5,990,400 pesos. The end user is ANS. May I request prospective bidders in attendance to state their names and the company and the position and for designation the company they represent. May I start with Alpha Gold Corporation.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Jason Cuapo from Alpha Gold Corporation. I'm the president. I'm here for the pre-bidding of the construction of collection building at CAAP complex.
I kindly leave muna, sir. Kasi ang first po natin sa pre-bid is yung sa BHF in AM transceiver for barrier airports.
Sige po.
Siguro kindly rejoin na lang afterwards. Sorry, sir, but we need to excuse me you muna. Please.
Sige, noted, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. We have Mr. Joel Penalver. Are you Sir Joel Penalver? Are you a representative of company?
Secretariat, please.
Mr.
I
Joel
think we're having...
Pinarville, I suggest that you just write your name in the chat, and also what company is being represented, and also what project. Medyo may problema kasi yung connection mo. Masakit sa tenga.
In relative to that, may I request other prospective bidders who are in the attendance right now for the supply and delivery of 10 watts VHF AM transceiver for various airport to please state their names na lang po, as well as the position or designation to the company they represent para mas mabilis po tayo. Otherwise po, kung hindi po sila prospective bidders po sa project na po yun, excuse muna, then please rejoin na lang after. Thank you. So with that, may I now request ANS, sir, the end user representative to present to us the project.
Secretariat, before
Yes,
we
Mr.
go to the presentation, may I know who
Yes, sir.
are the prospective bidders joining for item 3.1 and maybe item 3.2?
Yes, sir. Again, we reiterate prospective bidders for item 3.1 to please state their name and the position designation.
Maybe they just send message so that kung may problema sa send message.
Yes, sir. Please send a message na lang po yung mga prospective bidders natin ngayon sa virtual in attendance para mas makausad po tayo sa ating pre-bid. Thank you. Sir Falcon Bulk of Federal Builder, Ms. Mitz Marciaga of Integrated Energy Systems are the prospective bidders so far, Mr. Chair, for this project. So with that, Mr. Chair, may I now request the representative from the ANS to present the project.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. BAC, I'll be the one to do the presentation for agenda item 3.1. So I will now start sharing my screen. Okay, so once again, good afternoon po, especially to our prospective bidders. Welcome to the pre-bid conference for the project supply and delivery of 10 watts VHF AM transceiver for various airports under bid number 22-014-06 Alpha. The outline of the presentation is divided into these parts as shown on the screen. We'll be presenting the invitation to bid, the instruction to bidders with corresponding BDS, general conditions of the contract with corresponding SCC, the schedule of requirements, technical specifications, checklist, and we are going to open the floor at the end of the presentation for discussion and clarification. For the invitation to bid, CAAP, through the CAAP corporate operating budget for fiscal year 2022 intends to apply the total sum of 5,990,000 pesos, 990,400 pesos, being the approved budget for the contract, to payments under the contract for supply and delivery 10 watts VHF AM transceivers for various airports with CAAP project ID 22-014-06 Alpha. With the item and description shown at the table, bids received in excess of the ABC shall be automatically rejected at bid opening. CAAP now invites bids for the above procurement project. Delivery of goods is required within 90 calendar days. Bidders should have completed within 5 years from the date of submission, and receipt of bids is contract similar to the project. The description of an eligible bidder is contained in the bidding documents, particularly in section 2 of the instruction to bidders. Bidding will be conducted through open competitive bidding procedures using a non-discretionary pass-fail criterion as specified in the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Bidding is restricted to Filipino citizens, sole proprietorships, partnerships, or organizations with at least 60% interest or outstanding capital stock belonging to the citizens of the Philippines and to or organizations of a country, the laws or regulations of which grant similar rights or privileges to Filipino citizens pursuant to RA 5183. Prospective bidders may obtain further information from CAAP BAC Secretariat and inspect the bidding documents at the address given during office hours at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday, except declared holidays, weekends, and suspension of work at the back office, CAAP, Miro, Pasay City. Complete set of bidding documents may be acquired on June 21st to July 12th of 2022 from CAAP back office, Miro, Pasay City, and upon payment of the applicable fee for the bidding documents pursuant to the latest guidelines issued by the GPPB in the amount of 10,000 pesos plus 12% VAT. The CAAP allows the bidder to present its proof of payment for the fees through email. Bids must be duly received by the BAC Secretariat through manual submission at the office address given on or before 12th of July at 2 p.m. Late bids shall not be accepted. All bids must be accompanied by a bid security in any of the acceptable forms and in the amount stated in ITB Clause 14. Bid opening shall be on the 12th of July at 2 p.m. at CAAP, back office, and or via online conference through Google Meet. Bids will be opened at the presence or in the presence of the bidders' representatives who choose to attend the activity. CAAP reserves the right to reject any and all bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award a contract at any time prior to contract award in accordance with Section 35.6 and 41 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 without thereby incurring any liability to the affected bidder or bidders. For further information, please refer to Engineer Leandro R. Varquez, the overall head BAC Secretariat, CAAP, Road, Pasay City. You may also visit the following website shown on the screen for downloading the bidding documents. For the instruction to bidders with corresponding DDS, so we'll be jumping on the corresponding bid datasheet details corresponding to the instruction to bidders. For ITB Clause 5.3, under eligibility of the bidders, so for this purpose, contracts similar to the project shall be A. Supply and delivery of radio communications equipment or system. B. Completed within 5 years prior to the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. Under subcontracting requirements, there is no further instruction where subcontracting is not allowed. Under ITB Clause 10.1, on the documents comprising the bid eligibility and technical components, as per CAAP Memorandum dated September 17, 2018, regarding the disqualification of prospective bidders with pending case against the government in procurement activities of CAAP, all prospective bidders shall be required to submit the following. Item number 1 is certification under oath, attesting that they have no pending case or cases against the government, in addition to the eligibility requirements for bidders as prescribed under the revised IRR of RA 9184, and item number 2, legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP ELS with respect to the non-pendency of any case of prospective bidders against the authority. For the bid prices, the price of the goods shall be quoted DDP, CAAP, May Road, Pasay City, or the applicable international commercial terms, input terms for this project. For the bid security, the bid security shall be in the form of a bid securing declaration or any of the following forms and amounts. Letter A, the amount of not less than 119,808 pesos, which is equivalent to 2% of the ABC. If bid security is in cash, cashier's or manager's check, bank draft or guarantee, or irrevocable letter of credit. Or item letter B, the amount of not less than 299,520 pesos, which is equivalent to 5% of the ABC if bid security is in surety bond. For the sealing and marking of bids, each and every page thereof shall be initialed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Submitted eligibility, technical, and financial documents shall be properly marked with index tabs and must be sequentially paginated in accurate order in the form of, as shown in the example, page 3 of 100. Pagination shall be sequential all throughout the documents inside the envelope. Bids not complying with the above instructions shall be automatically disqualified. And further, each bidder shall submit one copy of the first and second components of its bid. The slide shows the illustration for the table of contents, the index tabs, the use of the index tabs, and the signing of each pages, including the paginations. For the detailed evaluation and comparison of bids under clause 19.3, partial bid is not allowed. The goods are grouped in a single lot and the lot shall not be divided into sublots for the purpose of bidding, evaluation, and contract award. For post-qualification requirement, under ITB clause 20, no license is required. Now, moving on to the general conditions of the contract with corresponding SCC. Under the scope of the contract, spare parts, the supplier shall carry sufficient inventories to assure X stock supply of the consumable spare parts or components for the goods for a period of 3 years. Spare parts or components shall be supplied as promptly as possible, but in any case within 3 months of placing the order. For ITB clause 2.2, under the advance payment and terms of payment, it's not applicable. For inspection and test, the inspections and tests that will be conducted shall include but not limited to physical inspection, inventory, or whatever additional tests that the technical inspection team may require. The slide shows the schedule of requirements. The delivery schedule expressed as weeks, months, stipulates hereafter a delivery date, which is the date of delivery to the project site. So item number 1, it's consists of 12 sets of 10 watts VHF AM transceiver, including power supply, coaxial cables, dynamic handheld PTT microphone, antenna, and mounting hardwares. The delivery period is 90 calendar days. For the technical specifications, as shown on the slide, there is a column for the statement of compliance. So the bidders must state here either comply or not comply against each of the individual parameters of each specification, stating the corresponding performance parameter of the equipment offered. So it all covers all the items listed on the table, down to the warranty, 1-year warranty against factory defect. For the checklist, for the technical component envelope, Class A documents, legal documents, valid PhilJEPS registration certificate, platinum membership, all pages in accordance with Section 852 of the IRR. For the technical documents, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid, and the statement of the bidder's SLCC similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided for in sections 23413 and 23424 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 within the relevant period as provided in the bidding documents, and original copy of bid security, if in the form of a surety bond. Submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission, or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration in conformity with the technical specifications, which may include production, delivery schedule, manpower requirements, and or after-sales parts if applicable, and originally duly signed omnibus sworn statement and if applicable, original notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture, giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the OSS and do acts to represent the bidder. Legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP ELS with respect to the non-pendency of any cases of prospective bidders against the authority. Certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case or cases against the government, in addition to the eligibility requirements for bidders as prescribed under the revised IRR of 9184. For the financial documents, the prospective bidder's computation of NFCC or a committed line of credit from a universal or commercial bank in lieu of its NFCC computation. For the Class B documents, if applicable, a duly signed joint venture agreement in case the joint venture is already in existence, or duly notarized statements from all the potential joint venture partners stating that they will enter into and abide by the provisions of the JVA in the instance that the bid is successful, and other documentary requirements under RA 9184 as applicable for foreign bidders claiming by reason of their country's extension of reciprocal rights to Filipinos, certification from the relevant government office of their country stating that Filipinos are allowed to participate in government procurement activities for the same item or product, and a certification from the DTI if the bidder claims preference as a domestic bidder or domestic entity. For the financial component envelope, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form and the original of duly signed and accomplished price schedules. So the price schedule for offered from within the Philippines and the price schedule for goods offered from abroad can be downloaded from the website shown on the slide. All right, so Mr. Chair, we are now going to open the floor for any questions or clarifications from our prospective bidders regarding the project.
Okay, no, Rick, in the interest of time, somebody also will be presenting the 50 watts EM transceiver. So, considering that, I assume that other documents are the same, only the specification of 50 watts as well as the price. Can we not just present? Can you just present the 50 watts and then later on we can go on with the question and answer?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a separate presenter for that project, Mr. Chair. So in that case, I'll be turning over the floor to our colleague from the TWG.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, okay.
I will present now the 50 watt BHF for various airports, similar to the 10 watts. I will now share the screen.
Okay, so later on we will continue with the question and answer. You present first because this is, I think these two projects are related. So you continue with the presentation, and then later on we interpret the question and answer.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I will present now the pre-bid conference for the supply and delivery of 50 watts BHF AM transceiver for various airports with bid number 22015-06 Alpha on this 28 June 2022 2 p.m. via web conference BAC Alpha meeting conference. The outline here is invitation to bid, instruction to bidders, and with corresponding BDS. General conditions of the contract with corresponding CC, scheduler requirements, technical specifications, checklist, and the last is discussions for clarification. For the invitation to bid, the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, through the corporate operating budget for fiscal year 2022 intends to apply the total sum of 4,680,000 pesos, being the approved budget for the contract, to payments under the contract for supply and delivery of 50 watts BHF AM transceiver for various airports with CAAP project ID 22-015-06 Alpha. So, item 1, the description is 3 sets of 50-watt BHF AM transceivers, including coaxial cables, dynamic handheld press-to-talk microphone, antenna, mounting hardware, and other items included in the standard package. Bids received in excess of the ABC shall be automatically rejected at bid opening. Number 2, the CAAP now invites bids for the above procurement project. Delivery of goods is required within 90 calendar days. Bidders should have completed within 5 years from the date of submission and receipt of bids a contract similar to the project. The description of an eligible bidder is contained in the bidding documents, particularly in Section 2, Instruction to Bidders. Bidding will be conducted through open, competitive bidding procedures using a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion as specified in the 2016 revised implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act 9184. Bidding is restricted to Filipino citizens, sole proprietorships, partnerships, or organizations with at least 60% interest of or outstanding capital stock belonging to citizens of the Philippines and to citizens or organizations of a country, the laws or regulations of which grant similar rights or privileges to Filipino citizens pursuant to RA 9184. Prospective bidders may obtain further information from CAAP BAC Secretariat and inspect the bidding documents at the address given during 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday except declared holidays, weekends, and suspension of work at the back office, CAAP, Mia Road, Pasay City. Complete set of bidding documents may be acquired on 21 June 2022 up to 12 July 2022 from Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, back office, Mia Road, Pasay City, and upon payment of the applicable fee for the bidding documents pursuant to the latest guidelines issued by the GPPB in the amount of 5 million plus 12% VAT. The CAAP allows the bidder to present its proof of payment for the fees through email. Bids must be duly received by the BAC Secretariat through manual submission at the office address given on or before 12 July 2022 at 2 p.m. Late bids shall not be accepted. All bids must be accompanied by a bid security in any of the acceptable forms in the amount stated in ITB Clause 14. Bid opening shall be on 12 July 2022 at 2 p.m. at Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines back office and or via online conference through Google Meet. Bids will be open in the presence of the bidders' representatives who choose to attend the activity. The Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines reserves the right to reject any and all bids declared a failure. Any bids declare a failure of bidding or not award the contract at any prior time to contract award in accordance with Section 35.6 and Part 1 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 without thereby incurring any liability to the affected bidder or bidders. For further information, please refer to Engineer Leandro Varquez with the telephone number mentioned below, or you may visit the following website for the downloading of bidding documents. Instruction to bidders with corresponding bid data sheet. So the scope of work. The procuring entity CAAP wishes to receive bids for the supply and delivery of 50-watt BHF AM transceivers for various airports with identification number 22-015-06 Alpha. Project. The procurement project referred to here as project is composed of one lot the details of which are described in Section 7 Technical Specifications. Funding information, the GOP through the source of funding as indicated below for fiscal year 2022 in the amount of 4,680,000. The source of funding is the corporate operating budget of CAAP. So for item 53, pursuant to section 23.4.1.3 of the 2016 IRR of RA 9184, the bidder shall have an SLCC that is at least one contract similar to the project, the value of which adjusted to current prices using the PSA CPI must be at least equivalent to at least 50% of the ABC. 5.3 with data sheet. For this purpose, contract similar to the project shall be A. Supply and delivery of radio communications equipment system. B. Completed within 5 years prior to the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. For subcontracts, no further instructions. For 10.1, the first envelope shall contain the eligibility and technical documents of the bid as specified in Section 8, checklist of technical and financial documents. For 10.1, bid data sheet per CAAP memorandum dated 17 September 2018, disqualification of prospective bidders with pending case against the government in the procurement activities of the CAAP. All prospective bidders shall be required to submit the following. Number 1, certificate under oath attesting that they have no pending case or cases against the government, in addition to the eligibility requirements for bidders as prescribed under the revised implementing rules and regulations of RA 9184. And number 2, legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP Enforcement and Legal Service with respect to the non-pendency of any cases of prospective bidders against the authority. For 12 bid prices, prices indicated on the price schedule shall be entered separately in the following manner. A. For goods offered from within the procuring entity's country. I. The price of the goods quoted EXW. The cost of all customs duties, sales, and other taxes already paid or payable. III. The cost of transportation, insurance, and other costs incidental to delivery of the goods to the final destinations. And the last is the price of other incidental services in any listed, if any, listed in the BDS. For bid data sheets 12, the price of the goods shall be quoted DDP, CAAP, Mia Road, Pasay City, or the applicable international commercial terms, in co-terms for this project. For instruction to bidders, 14.1, the bidder shall submit a bid securing declaration or any form of bid security in the amount indicated in the BDS, which shall be not less than the percentage of the ABC in accordance with the schedule in the BDS. For 14.1 bid data sheet, the bid security shall be in the form of bid securing declaration or any of the following forms and amounts. The amount of not less than 93,600 pesos, which is equivalent to 2% of the ABC. If bid security is in cash, cashier's manager's check, bank draft guarantee, or irrevocable letter of credit, or letter B, the amount of not less than 234,000 pesos, which is equivalent to 5% of the ABC if bid security is in the surety band. For instruction to bidders, item 15, sealing and marking of bids. Each bid shall be submit. Each bidder shall submit one copy of the first and second components of each bid. For bid data sheet 15, item 1, each and every page thereof shall be initialed by the duly authorized representative or representatives of the bidder. Submitted eligibility, technical, and financial documents shall be properly marked with index tabs or ear tabs and must be sequentially paginated in accurate order in the form such that page 3 of 100. Pagination shall be sequential all throughout the documents inside the envelope. Bids not complying with the above instructions shall be automatically disqualified. 2. Each bidder shall submit one copy of the first and second component of each bid. This is the example illustrations of table of contents in the index tabbing. And each page is being numbered sequentially. For example, page 1 of 75 until the last page, page 75 of 75, with each page being signed by the authorized bidder's representative. So for 19.3, the description of the lots or items shall be indicated in Section 7, Technical Specifications, although the ABCs of these lots or items are indicated in the BDS for purposes of the NFCC computation pursuant to Section 23.4.2.6 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. The NFCC must be sufficient for the total of the ABC for all the lots of items participated in the prospective bidder. For 19.3 bid data sheet, partial bids is not allowed. The goods are grouped in a single lot and the lots shall not be divided into sublots for the purpose of bidding evaluation and contracts award. For item 20, instruction to bidder, post-qualification. Within a non-extendable period of 5 calendar days from receipt by the bidder of the notice from the BAC that it submitted the lowest calculated bid, the bidder shall submit its latest income and business tax returns filed and paid through the BIR Electronic Filing and Payments Systems or EFPS and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law stated in the BDS. For bid data sheet 20.2, no license required. For general conditions of the contract with corresponding SCC, we have this contract shall include all such items, although not specifically mentioned, that can be reasonably inferred as being required for its completion, as if such items were expressly mentioned herein. All the provisions of RA 9184 and its 2016 IRR, including the generic procurement manual and associated issuances, constitute the primary source for the terms and conditions of the contract, and thus applicable in contract implementation. Wherein clauses shall serve as the secondary source for the terms and conditions of the contract. For special conditions, spare parts. The supplier shall carry sufficient inventories to assure stock supply of consumable spare parts or components for the goods for a period of 3 years. Spare parts or components shall be supplied as promptly as possible, but in any case within 3 months of placing the order. So for general conditions of contract, item 4, inspection and test. For special conditions, for the inspections and tests shall be conducted. That will be conducted shall include but not limited to physical inspection and inventory, or whatever additional test that the technical inspection team may require. Warranty for your item number 5, in order to assure the manufacturing defects shall be corrected by the supplier, a warranty shall be required from the supplier as provided under Section 62.1 of the 2016 revised IRR or RA 9184. The procuring entity shall promptly notify the supplier in writing of any claims arising under this warranty. Upon receipt of such notice, the supplier shall repair or replace the defective goods or parts thereof without cost to the procuring entity pursuant to the generic procurement manual. Liability of the supplier. The supplier's liability under this contract shall be as provided by the laws of the Republic of the Philippines. If the supplier is joint venture, all partners to be joint venture shall be jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity. Schedule of requirements. The delivery schedule expressed as weeks, months, stipulated after a delivery date, which is the date of delivery to the project site. For item number 1, the description is 50-watt VHF AM transceiver, including coaxial cables, dynamic handheld press-to-talk microphone, antenna mounting hardware, and other items included in the standard package. Quantity, 3 sets, with a total of 3 sets, and delivery scheduled is 90 calendar days. Technical specification is mentioned here. It's also mentioned in the bid documents. Then the checklist. For technical component envelope, we have the legal documents, valid field jobs, registration certificate, all pages in accordance with section 8.5.2 of the IRR. Then technical documents, B, statement of the prospective bidders of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or non-similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. And statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided for in sections 23.4.1.3 and 23.4.2.4 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184 within the relevant period as provided in the bidding document. And D, original copy of bid security in the form of a surety bond. Submit also a certification issued by the insurance company, or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. And conformity with the technical specifications, which may include production, delivery schedule, manpower requirements, and or after-sales parts, if applicable. And F, original duly signed omnibus statements, and if applicable, original notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative or original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture, giving full power and authority to each officer to sign the OSS and do acts to represent the bidder. And G, legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP Enforcement and Legal Service with respect to the non-pendency of any cases of prospective bidders against the authority or CAAP. Certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government in addition to the eligibility requirements for bidders as prescribed under the revised implementing rules and regulations of RA 9184. And I, for the financial documents, the prospective bidders' computation of net financial contracting capacity, or NFCC, a committed line of credit from a universal or commercial bank in lieu of its NFCC computation. For Class B documents, if applicable, a duly signed joint venture agreement in case of the joint venture is already in existence, or duly notarized statement from all the potential joint venture partners stating that they will enter into and abide by the provisions of the joint venture agreement in the instance that the bid is successful. Other documentary requirements under RA 9184 as applicable for foreign bidders claiming by reason of their country's extension of reciprocal rights to Filipinos, certification from the relevant government office of their country is stating that Filipinos are allowed to participate in government procurement activities for the same item or product. And L, certification from the DTI if the bidder claims preference as a domestic bidder or domestic entity. Financial component envelope. A, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form. And B, original of duly signed and accomplished price schedule. Here comes the discussion and clarification. Welcome, bidders. If you have any query or questions or some items to be clarified, the floor is open for your questions.
Okay, to the bidders, there are two projects presented. So since they are related, you may ask question from these two projects. Rivercon as well as integrated energy system. You have some question with these two projects?
Sir, good afternoon. This is Tang Kapagyan of Integrated Energy.
Okay, proceed.
Sir, with regards to the coaxial cable, do you have a length of the cable that will be provided to the people?
Is this question intended for 50 watts or 10 watts?
Sir, for both projects.
Okay. Can you, sir, for 10 watts? Please reply.
So for the 10 watts, it's 100 meters RG214, and for the 50 watts, it's 200 meters RG214. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Noted.
Prospective bidders, do you have other questions? Okay. Parang wala na o baka nakatulog sa haba ng presentation.
Sir, one question pa po.
Okay, sige.
Sir, for the 10 watts, regarding dun sa technical specifications, letter M, compliance for ETSI EN 300 67C compliant. Sir, are we required to provide a certificate of compliance or just certification from the manufacturer that they are compliant with this standard?
PWG, please reply. Thank you, sir.
We think just the certification from the brochure will do. I think almost all the ranges are compliant with the 1% as requirement, Sir Chair.
About PWG.
Yes, Mr. Chair, TWG. Yes, that would do, sir. The specified compliance regarding to NCEN 30676 would come from basically from the manufacturer. If the manufacturer does provide a provision there or some sort of description that the product line being offered is compliant to that standard, then that will do, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
More question? Hearing
Mr.
none.
Chair.
Okay, PWG, you have additional instruction.
Yes, Mr. Chair. For the other prospective bidders, you still have 10 calendar days before the opening of bids to submit your queries or points of clarification in order for the technical working group as well as the end user to respond to your queries or clarification. And they may submit their written clarifications or questions, Mr. Chair, to the BAC Secretariat. That's all, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so since there is no more question with regard to this project, Secretariat, you have additional comment or instruction?
None anymore, Mr. Chair. Would like to lang reiterate lang. The earlier the submission of the bid increase or clarification, the better before the 10 calendar period, so that there will be sufficient time as well for the user and technical working group to properly respond to those. That would be all, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you. About the members of the BAC, do you have some comment or clarification before we close this two projects?
None, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Emre. Okay, so with that, thank you for the participation of the prospective bidders from Evercon as well as to Integrated Energy System. So if you have any other question, we will be expecting that within the allowable time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Secretariat, we may proceed to the next agenda. And we request the two bidders previously present to move to leave from the room. And Secretariat allow the other bidders to join this virtual meeting for the next project.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Next in the agenda for the pre-bid is the project entitled Construction of Collection Building at CAAP in an ABC of 6,961,769.69. The end user is ADMS. May now request prospective bidders online to please state their full name and their position or designation to the company they represent. Sa chat box na lang po. Ate Chris, paki-accept na po yung mga prospective bidders for this project. I think Sir Arniel Laureles is now attendance. Sir, paki-indicate na lang po yung full name at saka yung position designation to the company you represent sa chat box natin.
Chat box. Okay po. Sige po.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, for the technical working group, Engineer Eva Lasatin of the ADMS will present for this project, the bid documents for this project. Go ahead, Engineer Eva.
Hello, good afternoon. Nakita po na po yung screen.
Yes, Engineer Eva, we can now see your screen.
Okay, good afternoon. For ITB Clause 1.0, the concurring entities, Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, the name of contract, constructions of collection building at CAAP complex, the identification number of the contract, bid number 22-013-06 alpha. The funding source is the GOP through the source of funding as indicated below for CAAP CY 2021 in the amount of 6,961,769 and 69,100 centavos. For ITB Clause 3.0, certificate of site inspection duly signed by LT Colonel Valentino A. Junella, PAF retired of ADMS. This shall include of the following documents as attached to the certificate of site inspection: a copy of company ID of the person who conducted the site inspection, copy of the visitors ADMS visitors logbook, picture of the proposed site, including the personnel who conducted the site inspection, together with the ADMS chief or his duly authorized representative. Bids not complying with this above instruction shall be disqualified. This is the sample certificate of site inspection, company ID, and ADMS logbook. For ITV Clause 5.2, for the purpose, similar contracts shall refer to contracts which have the same major categories work, which shall be building construction, improvement, rehabilitation, repair. ITB Clause 7.1, subcontracting is not allowed. For ITB Clause 10.1, bidder shall submit all eligibility and technical documents as specified in Section 10 of Checklist of Technical and Financial Documents. For ITB Clause 10.3, pickup license or special pickup license in case of joint ventures and registration, and small license category C and D for vertical works, building and industrial plant. For the type and cost of the contract to be bid, bids not complying with the above instruction shall be disqualified. For ITB Clause 10.4, the minimum work experience requirement for personnel are the following. Okay. Project engineer, electrical engineer, master electrician, plumber, construction, and health officer with 5 years in general engineering experience, relevant experience, at least 3 years in building construction, improvement, rehabilitation, and repair. Bids not complying with the above instruction shall be disqualified. For ITB Clause 10.5, the minimum major equipment requirements are the following: 1 unit plate compactor, 1 unit portable welding machine, 1 concrete pump diesel driven with pipes, 2 sorry, one unit plate compactor. Bids not complying with the above instruction shall be disqualified. ITB Clause 11.1, the discount is stated in the financial bid form shall be computer written with the same font style and size as of the whole text of the said form. Discount that are either handwritten, typewritten, or computer written in the other font style and size shall not be considered. Bids not complying with the above instruction shall be disqualified. For ITB Clause 11.1, the second bid envelope shall contain the financial documents for the bids as specified in Section 10. The financial documents includes original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form, bill of quantities, summary of bid proposal, bill of materials and cost estimates, summary sheet indicating the unit price of construction, materials, labor rates, equipment rentals used in upcoming up with the bid, cash flow by quarter and payment schedule. Modification and alteration on the stated requirements in the financial document forms, BOQ, summary of bid proposal, and bill of quantities and cost estimate shall not be allowed. Applicable CAAP BAC standards form included in the PBD shall be complied in the accordance with the prescribed bidding forms. ITB Clause 11.2, bid exceeding the ABC of the project shall be disqualified. ITB Clause 15.1, the bid security shall in the form of bid securing declaration or any of the following forms and amounts. The amount of not less than 2% of ABC if bid security in cash, cashier, manager's check, bank draft, guarantee, or irrevocable letter of credit. The amount of not less than 5% of ABC if the bid security is in surety bond. ITB Clause 16, each and every page thereof shall be initialed, signed, and duly authorized representatives of the bidder. Submitted eligibility technical and financial document shall be properly marked with index tabs and must be sequential paginated in accurate order in the form of example page 3 of 100, page number of last page of the documents per envelope basis. Pagination should be sequential based on the entire span of the whole documents inside the envelope. Bids not complying with the above instruction shall be disqualified. This is the sample illustration, the table of contents, the index, the initial and sign must be sequentially paginated in accurate order. ITB Clause 16, each bidder shall submit one original copy of technical component and financial eligibility documents. All envelope must be labeled as follows: name of the contract to be bid in capital letter, name and address of the bidder in capital letter, name and address of procuring entity, BAC identified in the ITB Clause number 10.1, bear the specific identification of the bidding process indicated in the invitation to bid. Bear a warning, do not open before the date and time for the opening of bids in accordance with the ITB Clause 21. IT Clause 16, the procuring entity address is Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, Pasay City, Captain Donaldo E. Mendoza, Chairman of BAC, ALPA. ITB Clause 17, the address for submission of bids is BAC Office, Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, Pasay City. The deadline of submission of bids is at 12 July 2022, 2 p.m. ITB Clause 19.2, partial bid is not allowed. ITB Clause 20, the bidder of the lowest calculated bid that LCB that complies with and is responsive to all the requirements and conditions shall submit its latest income and business tax returns, business license permit, latest audited financial statement and key personal liabilities. Failure to submit any of the post-qualification requirements on time or finding against the veracity thereof shall disqualify of the bidder for award. ITB Clause 21, the following relevant project documents are required to be submitted by the successful bidder who submitted the LCRB as part of the contract agreement during its signing: construction schedule, bar chart and S-curve, per CPM, network diagram, manpower schedule, construction methods, equipment utilization schedule, construction safety and health programs approved by DOLE for the construction of collection building at CAAP complex. For the checklist of technical and financial documents. For technical component envelope, Class A document, legal documents, a valid PILJEPS registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, Department of Trade and Industry for sole proprietorship or cooperative development authority or cooperatives or permit issued by the city of the municipality where the principal place of the business of the prospective bidder is located, tax clearance, statement of the prospective bidders of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contract awarded but not yet started, if any, statement of the bidders completed contract, PICAB license or special PICAB license in case of joint ventures, statement of prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts. Sorry. Okay. Organizational chart for the contract to be bid, list of contractors, key personnel, list of contractors' major equipment units, which are on lease and under purchase agreement. Okay. Originally duly signed omnibus form statement, if applicable, or original notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture giving full power and authority of its officer to sign the OSS and do acts to represent the bidder. This shall include the following document as attached to the omnibus one statement: certificate and certification under oath attesting that they have no pending case against the government, legal clearance to be issued by the CAAP Enforcement and Legal Service, bid bulletins if applicable, certificate of site inspection duly signed by Chief of Colonel Valentino Janela, MS, or his duly authorized representative. This shall include the following: company ID of the person who conducted the site inspection, copy of the ADMS visitor's logbook, picture of the proposed site including the personnel who conducted inspection together with Chief ADMS or his duly authorized representative. For financial documents, the prospective bidders' audited financial statement showing, among others, the prospective bidders' total and current asset and liabilities stamped received by the BIR, the prospective bidders' computation of NFCC, Class B documents, if applicable, duly signed joint venture agreement in accordance with RA number 4566 and its IRR in case of the joint venture is already in existence. Duly notarized statement from all potential joint venture partners stating that they will enter into and abide by the provision of the joint venture in the instance of the bid is successful. For the initial component envelope, duly original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form, original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities, summary of bid proposal, bill of materials and cost and estimates, summary sheet indicating unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, equipment rental used in the coming up with the bid, cash flow by quarter, and payment schedule. For project technical details, the scope of work, the project covers the supply of labor, materials, tools, equipment, and construction-related permits necessary for construction of collection building with the following scope of works which shall be done in accordance with the approved plans and specification, provision of contract. Duration is 120 calendar days. It also under mobilization, we have structural works, site works, concrete works, masonry works, and for architectural works, we have ceiling works, tile works, painting works, drywall and cladding works, waterproofing works, carpentry works, doors, and windows. For electrical works, we have lighting and power conduit and fittings, wire and cables, electrical wiring devices, lighting fixtures, boxes and pull boxes, air conditioning units, power supply, panel board, circuit breaker, service entrance conductors, service entrance conduits and fittings, termination accessories. We have mechanical works and plumbing works. Under plumbing works, we have a cash basin, storm drainage line, cold water lines, wastewater lines, fixtures, countertop, and furnitures. All scope of works for this item must be according to plan and specification and must be approved by the project in charge. Also, quality and types of material must be conformed and to be approved by the project engineer assigned by CAAP. The contractor shall be responsible in providing safety, perimeter fence, and securing fences, personal protective equipment for staffs and workers on site while construction is ongoing. Safety reports shall be prepared regularly. The contractor shall be responsible for all laboratory, material testing, building and safety permits, and survey instruments necessary in the project implementation. These expenses shall be incorporated in the contractor's overhead costs and shall not be in pay item. For site development plan, shown on the screen the perspective and the vicinity map, the site development plan, other view for the proposed construction of collection building, side view, and that's all. Thank you po. Mr. Chair, that's all po.
Mr. Chair, at this point, the technical working group, together with the end user from the ADMS, are now ready to accept queries or point of clarification from our prospective bidders.
Okay. Based on the chat, there are 3 prospective bidders. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct, sir.
Okay, so good. Okay, so any question with the presentation from the presentation of the TWG prospective bidders?
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Jason Kwapo from Alpha Gold.
Okay, go ahead, Jason.
Sir, tatanong ko lang po yung sa schedule po nung site inspection.
Hindi ko lang alam. Ano ba?
Anytime po ba siya? Or may pre-assigned time and date and time po tayo?
Mr. Chair, if I may respond, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. To answer the query of Alpha Gold, Mr. Chair, the site inspection may be conducted anytime, Monday to Friday, during office hours, during 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Chair. So they can just visit the office of ADMS, and somebody from the ADMS, sir, will assist them in the conduct of the site inspection, sir.
Thank you, Attorney. So,
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any more questions?
Hello, sir. From MCR Builders po.
Okay, go ahead. NCR Builders.
Yes, sir.
So, before, no? Tatlo lang kasi nandito, no? Nandito sa listahan. Alpha Gold, SM Construction Management, and is 2A Builders. So this is another prospective bidders, MCR Builders. Is that correct?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, sige. Okay, Secretariat, take note. Okay. Go ahead, Obed.
Dito po sa may page 20 ninyo, tanong ko lang po, may nakalagay po kasi kayong provision regarding the certification under oath that attesting that they have no pending case against the government in addition to the legitimate requirements. Ano pong, sir, ang reference to rito? Ano po yung law or rule that govern this? Is it a memorandum from DOTR or from CAAP?
Attorney, please.
If I may respond, Mr. Chair. Well, sir, we included the certification of no pending case against the government. It is also a provision adopted from the DOTR requirement. At the same time, sir, considering that the entity or the procuring entity is allowed to prescribe requirements in addition to what is included in the 9184 for as long as it is legal and it is fair to all the prospective bidders, and that is why we included the requirement, Mr. Chair.
Pwede po, sir, malaman which particular memorandum circular of DOTR?
We at this point, Mr. Chair, we do not have the memorandum at hand, but we can provide later on, Mr. Chair, for the consumption of Mr. Quiros. But just to inform Mr. Quiros, Mr. Chair, MZR Builders, that this requirement has been a requirement for construction or even in non-infra projects, for procurement projects here or in CAAP, Mr. Chair.
But accordingly, sir, sa GPPB, we have inquired from them. This requirements of is not part of the normal bidding process, wherein they have cited us NPM number 52-2014 and NPM 135-2017 to this effect.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it is not included. Just to respond, Mr. Chair, it is not included in the one prescribed in the IRR, but the procuring entity, Mr. Chair, is not precluded as well from providing additional requirements for as long as it is legal and it is fair to all the prospective bidders for the project.
Okay, Mr. Quiros, okay na? Satisfied na yung sa question? I answered ni Atty.
No, actually, it's like this. NPM, these are the opinion of the Government Procurement Policy Board. Now, if I may po siguro, if I may quote yung sinasabi po ng NPM 52-2014, sabi po niya, question is whether it is valid for a procuring entity to require a sworn affidavit stating that the bidder shall have no pending or previous adversarial claim against it as a post-qualification requirement, no? Sa post-qualification mo to, doon sa isa naman, yung NPM 135-2017, actually it's more or less the same. Sabi niya, a certificate that the bidder has no pending case is not considered as a physical description of the goods or services, nor can it be considered as a requirement in terms of functional, performance, environmental interface, or design requirement to be met by the goods to be manufactured or supplied, or the services to be rendered. Hence, it may not be required to form part of the technical specifications. So, yun po sinasabi nyo runs contrary to this provision of GPPB, which is the one handling the implementation of RA 9184 and its revised IRR.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Nakakaano po kasi ito, parang discriminatory siya because it is provided already also in RA 9184 na kapag may mga grievances, pwede naman to kaya nilagay po nila yung SIAC in terms of the infra project. So, it runs contrary to that provision.
Mr. Chair, if I may respond, sir.
Go ahead, Attorney.
Sir, we take note of the non-policy matter which was read by the prospective bidder MZR Builders. Take note, Mr. Chair, it is a non-policy matter, and as read by the bidder, sir, there is the collateral. It may provide or it may, but so it's not conclusive and it is not mandatory. So considering that this is just a non-policy matter, although this is given weight as well, but again, this will not preclude the procuring entity from prescribing additional requirements, Mr. Chair, for the project. But again, we appreciate the MZR Builders for bringing this up to this project. I mean, to this pre-bid conference, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So to the representative of MCR Builders, I think we have responded to your question already. But if you want, you can still write the CAAP for the clarification, and we will reply it officially or through a letter. Thank you.
Okay, tama po ba, sir? Ay, intindi ko, CAAP is under Department of Transportation? Tama po ba?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are part of the umbrella of the Department of Transportation.
Okay, may tinanong po kami kasi sa DOTR mismo. Sabi po nila, pag ang collection matter yata, yung pinag-usapan sa sinasabi nyo, hindi daw po kasama yun, pwede daw po yun.
Mr. Chair, sorry to cut the bidder, Mr. Chair, but at this point, Mr. Chair, we will the technical working group and the end user, Mr. Chair, will only entertain questions in relation to what was presented and to the project related. But should MZR Builders have further queries on the legality or the propriety of the requirement certificate of no pending case against the government, then I suggest, Mr. Chair, for the prospective bidder to put it in writing in order for us to prepare as well the legal grounds for that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Again, through the representative, your query is noted. Okay. So, shall we? Is there any other question from the other bidders in relation to this project? Okay, so hearing none, any additional instruction, comment from the TWD as well as Secretariat?
Mr. Chair, for the technical working group, we're just reminding our prospective bidders that they have 10, they can still submit questions or clarifications in relation to this project 10 days before the opening of bids. So they can write the BAC Secretariat through email, or they can submit it here at our office, BAC Secretariat office, Mr. Chair. That is 10 days before the opening of bids, sir.
Okay, thank you, TWG. Okay, so I think there is no more question on this project, so we could proceed to the next item. Thank
Yes,
you.
Mr. Chair.
I would like to
Request
thank
now.
you. Excuse me, I would like to thank you for those prospective bidders who participated in this pre-bid conference. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Again, pursuant to the instruction of the chairman or the presiding officer, I
So-
request now the prospective bidders from the previous pre-bid conference for the project construction of collection building. You may now be excused. Okay na po. For any written inquiries po, we encourage you to submit at least 10 calendar days before the deadline for the submission of bids. The earlier, the better po, for us to be able to submit sufficiently or respond sufficiently dun sa queries po. MZR Builders po, okay na po. Sir Arniel, you may now leave. Ate Chris, pwede na siguro ma-excuse na sir. Sir and ma'am. Okay na po.
Okay, sige po. Thank you po. Permission to leave na po.
Okay.
Sige sir, thank you rin po. Okay po.
Okay, Secretariat.
I think wala na. Yes sir. Next in the agenda is the presentation of the bid evaluation report for the project entitled Supply and Delivery of High Gain Bi-Directional VHF Antenna for Remote Center Air to Ground RCAG and Road Transmitter with an ABC of 4,817,975 pesos. End user is ANS. Representative from ANS or Technical
Mr.
Working
Chair.
Group.
Mr. Chair, if I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, for this agenda item number 4, as listed in our notice of meeting, sir, that technical working group, Mr. Chair, would like to ask for the deferment of the presentation of the report, considering, sir, that we are still recalculating and reevaluating the document as we find some inconsistencies in our first report, just to make sure that we are submitting the correct report, Mr. Chair. If we will be, can we ask, sir, for another reset for the project, sir?
Okay, I think in order to make sure that the report is correct, then the request is granted. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So we go to the next agenda. Secretariat. Secretariat, next agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item number 5 for the agenda for today's meeting is the cost qualification report for the following projects. Item 5.1, supply and delivery of ANS, emergency radio communication and power systems, with an ABC of 8,050,000. End user ANS. Tony Frank, sir.
Sir, for this project, Engineer Joffeter Franca will present the report, sir.
Go ahead, David.
Thank you, Attorney Frank. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the BAC of the committee. On screen is the post-qualification report of the TWG Alpha for the project supply and delivery of ANS emergency radio communications and power system. This is an ANS project with an approved budget of 8,050,000, and the bid was the opening of bid was last May 17, 2022, and LCB is Wireless Link Technologies Incorporated, and their calculated bid is 7,677,470 pesos. Based on the submitted documents of the bidder, Wireless Link Technologies, for field JEPS registration, the bidder submitted a platinum membership issued last 15 December 2021 and with validity until January 5, 2023. Um, Responsive for PhilJobs. For registration certificate, the bidder submitted a SEC company registration registered last 11 June 2009. For mayor's or business permit, also responsive. The the bidder submitted a expiration date of 31 December per PhilJobs Annex A, but the bidder also submitted a copy of at bid opening, an official receipt renewal, and electronic business permit renewal dated 14 January 2022, valid until 31 December 2022, issued by City of Manila. For tax clearance certificate issued 7 March 2022 by BIR, valid until 7 March 2023, responsive. For statement of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started. There are 3 ongoing projects submitted by Wireless Link with the indicated total value of outstanding works or undelivered portion of 90,712,096 pesos and 89 centavos. Copies of the NOAA, NTP, and contract and the purchase request were submitted. For this requirement, the Wireless Link is evaluated as responsive. Under the SLCC requirement, the bidder submitted this a single largest completed contract under the City of Taguig, the project entitled Procurement of Design and Installation of Digital Wireless Communication and Dispatch System for the Emergency Command and Control Phase 2, with the contract amount of 39,965,690 pesos, which was completed in December 21, 2018. SLCC is similar to the contract to be bid, and was completed within the required period and is more than 50% of the CAAP ABC responsive. For pickup license, not applicable. For the original copy of the bid security, bidder submitted a bid securing declaration signed and notarized dated 11 May 2022, responsive. For conformity with the technical specifications, also responsive, and the comparative is attached in this report, Mr. Chair. For project requirements, NTC permit, purchase, and radio station licenses, the bidder submitted NTC dealer's permit valid until 8 April 2023, and the offered radio communication equipment are NTC typed approved. Wireless Link Technologies Incorporated issued certification that it will comply, process, and provide permit, purchase, and radio station license from NTC, responsive. For the certificate from manufacturer or principal as authorized distributor of the radio communications equipment, ICOM certificate of authorized distributorship in the Philippines with validity until March 2023 was submitted by Wireless Link, responsive. Also for the OSS, a duly signed and notarized OSS dated 11 May 2022 was submitted, and that not the bidder, Wireless Link, is not listed in the GPPB blacklisting report as of June 23, 2022. For the requirement of certification under oath, attesting that they have no pending case, a duly signed and notarized dated 13 May 2022 certification was submitted, responsive. For the legal clearance, a duly signed dated 6 May 2022, valid until 6 October 2022, submitted, responsive. For bid bulletin number 1 is attached in the proposal, responsive. Under the financial documents or the audited financial statements, the bidder submitted its AFS for year 2020 and 2021 by Fitzgerald R. Legaspi, CPA stamp received by BIR dated 16 May 2022, responsive. For the prospective bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity, the NFCC per bidder's computation is 809,576,278 and 11 centavos, and the TWG computation of NFCC is 809,546,278.11 centavos. NFCC is more than the ABC, and the requirement is responsive. For JV requirement for this project, the wireless link is not in joint venture agreement, so this is not applicable. Under the financial component, the original duly signed and accomplished financial bid form, a duly signed and accomplished financial bid form in the amount of 7,677,470 pesos was submitted and is within the ABC, responsive. For the original and duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities, submitted the duly signed and accomplished, responsive. As per submitted documents of Wireless Link Technologies on June 27, within 5 calendar days from receipt by the bidder of the notice from the BAC that the bidder has the lowest calculated bid or highest rated bid, the bidder shall submit to the BAC its latest income and business tax returns and other appropriate licenses and permits required by law and stated in the bidding documents. The bidder submitted the following documentary requirements as per BAC letter dated 15 June 2022, which was received by Wireless Link Incorporated on June 25, 2022. And the required documents were verified during the actual site visit and inspection at the principal office of the bidder on June 27, 2022. Attached in the report is the ANSDWG Alpha PQ site survey. Site inspection. For the documents requirement under the PQ letter, number 1 is the latest income and business tax returns. Wireless Link submitted an annual income tax return year ended December 2021 with the following EFPS reference number and a monthly VAT declaration for the month of April 2022 under the listed EFPS reference number. For other appropriate licenses not applicable, for the registration certificate, SEC company registration with registered last June 11, 2029 responsive, 2009 responsive. For the mayor's or business permit renewal dated 22 April 2022, valid until 31 December 22, issued by City of Manila, responsive. For the valid tax clearance certificate, issued 7 March 2022 by BIR, valid until 7 March 2023, responsive. For the latest audited financial statement, the same document was submitted for 2020 and 2021 financial statements by Fitzgerald R. Legaspi, CPA, stamp received by BIR dated 16 May 2022, responsive. For the TWG recommendation, in view of the above findings, the BAC Alpha Technical Working Group recommends that the bid proposal of the loan bidder, Wireless Link Technologies Incorporated, be declared a single calculated and responsive bid, and that the contract be awarded to the bidder for the project, supply and delivery of ANS emergency radio communications and power systems in the amount of 7,677,470 pesos and 0 centavos for consideration of the BAC Alpha, Mr. Chair.
Okay, the TWG is recommending the project for supply and delivery of ENS emergency communication equipment to be recommending to be awarded to Wireless Link Technologies Incorporated. So any comment or query or motion from the members of the BAC?
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Delvin.
Move to adopt the recommendation of the technical working group to declare or to award the project supply and delivery of ANS emergency radio communication and power system to wireless link technology.
Okay. Thank you, Elmer. I second the motion. I hear second the motion. Members of the BAC and the end user.
Mr. Chair, end user here. I second the motion.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the BAC will adopt the recommendation of TWG to award the project supply and delivery of ENS emergency communication equipment to Wireless Link Technologies Incorporated with the amount of 7,677,470 pesos. With that, I would like to request the TWG to complete the signing of the report immediately, and the Secretariat to facilitate to prepare the resolution for the members of the BAC to sign as soon as possible, and for the award of the notice, for the issuance of the notice of award. Before the procuring entity will end its term on June 30, provided that there is no other orders or extension of their term. Okay, so with that,
we will comply, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. What Secretariat?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we will also comply.
Okay.
With respect to the agenda item number 5.2, post-qualification report presentation of the project entitled Preventive Maintenance, Servicing of Air Conditioning System at Philippine Air Traffic Management Center with an ABC of 1,520,000. Again, I request ENS Technical Working Group to present the post-qualification report. Thank you.
Thank you, BACSEC, and good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Chair, I'll be presenting the post-qualification report for the project Preventive Maintenance Servicing of Air Conditioning Unit at Philippine Air Traffic Management Center with the approved budget for the contract in the amount of 1,520,000 pesos under bid number 22-006-04 Alpha. The date and place of opening of bids was last 17th of May 2022, 2 p.m. at the CAAP conference room, also via Google Meet. The name of the bidder with the single calculated bid is identified as in the company name of Rose Air Enterprise Incorporated with the calculated bid in the amount of 1,504,000 that's 504,000 pesos. And I'm sorry, allow me to correct the figure. It's 1,504,800 pesos. So for the details of the report, starting on with the findings, under the legal documents, PhilJEP's certificate of registration and membership, the certificate of PhilJEP's certificate number, platinum membership was issued on 17th of May 2022, was valid until June 4, 2022, which was valid at the date of opening, making it responsive. For the registration certificate from SEC, the SEC registration dated 12 or December 1, 2015, with the registration number CS 2015-23530, making it responsive. mayor's or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located. A business permit issued by the city of Taguig on the 4th of January 2020, valid until 31st of December 2022, making it responsive. Tax clearance, a tax clearance certificate issued 22nd of February 2022 by the BAR, valid until 22 of February 2023, making it responsive. A statement of all its ongoing government and private contracts. Ongoing government and private contracts as of the 13th of May 2022 with indicated total value of outstanding works or undelivered portion in the amount of 14,989,381 pesos and 32 centavos, making it responsive. SLCC, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Head Office, Operation and Maintenance Services of Air Conditioning System, with a contract amount of 6,056,440 pesos and 50 centavos, was completed last December 31, 2020, making it responsive. The original copy of bid security or the original copy of notarized bid security declaration, submitted bid security declaration, duly signed and notarized on 16th of May 2022, making it responsive. Conformity with the technical specifications, accomplished and duly signed statement of compliance to all items of technical specifications, making it responsive. For the original duly signed OSS and if applicable, original notarized secretary certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original special power of attorney of all members of the GVA, giving full power and authority to his officer to sign the OSS and do acts to represent the bidder. The bidder submitted omnibus sworn statement and secretary certificate authorizing Engineer Jolina F. Binamira, duly signed and notarized on the 16th of May 2022, making it responsive. Legal clearance issued by the ELS. Legal clearance issued on the 22nd of May 2022, valid at the date of the bid opening, making it responsive. Certification under oath, attesting that they have no pending case or cases against the government. Submitted certification of no pending case against the government, duly signed and notarized on the 16th of May 2022, making it responsive. For the financial documents, the prospective bidders' audited financial statement. Audited financial statements for calendar year 2020 and 2021 by Nonita A. De La Paz, CPA, stamp received by BAR on the 12th of April 2022, making it responsive. The prospective bidders' computation of NFCC. The TWG did not find any discrepancy between the bidder's computation and that of the TWG, and the NFCC is more than the ABC, making it responsive. For the Class B documents for the applicable JVA, the bidder submitted duly signed certification Rose Air Enterprise Incorporated as no partnership or JVA, making it a not applicable requirement. For the financial component envelope, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form, submitted accomplished and duly signed bid form in the amount of 1,504,800 pesos, which is within the ABC, making it responsive. Original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities, submitted accomplished and duly signed price schedule for goods offered from within the Philippines form, making it responsive. So the bidder submitted the following documentary requirements as per BAC letter dated 15th of June 2022, which was received by Rose Air Enterprise Incorporated on 24th of June 2022. So the required documents were verified during the actual site visit and inspection at the principal office of the bidder on the 27th of June 2022. So starting with the PhilJEP's certificate of registration, a certificate of PhilJEP's certificate with certificate number platinum membership was issued on the 23rd of May 2022, valid now until the 4th of June 2023, making it the updated PhilJEP certificate of registration by the bidder, making it responsive. The latest income and business tax returns in the form specified in the BDS through the electronic filing and payment system. The bidder submitted the most recent monthly VAT last May and April of 2022 with the following or corresponding reference number, and the quarterly VAT of the first quarter of 2022 up to back to the annual ITR for the year 2021 with the corresponding reference number, making the requirement to this responsive. For other appropriate licenses and permits required by law and stated in the BDS, registration certificate responsive with SEC registration number CS 2015-23530. Mayor's business permit issued by the local government. So the business permit issued to Rose Air Enterprise Incorporated and issued by the City of Taguig under account number 01611-600-227, making it responsive. A valid tax clearance certificate issued on the 22nd of February 2022, valid until the 22nd of February 2023, making it responsive. A pickup license valid until the 30th of June 2023, category C, specialty in air conditioning or refrigeration, making it responsive. For the latest audited financial statement, it's still the same document. So the audited financial statements for calendar year 2020 and 2021 by Nonita A. De La Paz, CPA, stamp received by BIR on the 12th of April 2022, making it responsive. Statement identifying the bidders, SLCC, still the same submitted document, but verified document at the site, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Head Office, Operation and Maintenance Services of Air Conditioning System with contract amount of 6,056,440 pesos and 50 centavos, which was completed on the 31st of December 2020, making it responsive. And lastly, the updated status of all ongoing contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, issued by the government agency or private company concerned. All the ongoing government and private contracts on the as of 13th of May 2022 with indicated value of outstanding works undelivered portion in the amount of 16,474,562 pesos and 65 centavos, making it responsive. For the recommendations, in view of the above findings, BAC Alpha TWG recommends that the bid proposal of the loan bidder, Rose Air Enterprise Incorporated, be declared as the single calculated and responsive bid, and that the contract be awarded for the project preventive maintenance servicing of air conditioning unit at Philippine Air Traffic Management Center in the amount of 1,504,800 pesos for the consideration of the committee, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Norit. Okay, so to the members of the BAC, any comment and motion for this recommendation?
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Elmer.
Okay, move to adopt the recommendation of the technical working group to award the project preventive maintenance servicing of air conditioning at the Philippine Air Traffic Management Center to Rose Air Enterprise Incorporated in the amount of 1,504,800 pesos.
Thank you. Any
Seconded, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Arnel. So with the recommendation of TWG, first motion and second motion, the BAC adopt the recommendation to award the project for the preventive maintenance servicing of air conditioning system in Manila ATMC to Rose Air Enterprise Incorporated with the amount of 1,504,800. So ordered. Okay, so Secretariat, do you have any other matters?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead, TWG.
Yes, sir. Sir, if the BAC would allow, sir, we also would like to present the post-qualification report for the project supply and delivery of spare parts for Thales Monopulse Secondary Surveillance Radar, MSSR, nationwide, This is an ANS project in the amount of the ABC of this project is 5 million, Mr. Chair. Sorry, Mr. Chair, for we were not able to include this in the regular item. I mean item for today's discussion, but we wanted this to catch the last signing of the notice of award for this administration, Mr. Chair.
Kahit narinig yun.
Okay, I think the as a chairman, I would like to I allow this presentation, considering that this is the last day for our meeting. No, so okay, so you may present this report. And then,
thank you, Mr. Chair. Engineer Moises Sakopon, sir, ANSTWG will present the post-qualification report conducted by the group. Go ahead, Engineer Sakopon, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. We would like to present to you the post-evaluation report for this post-qualification report for the supply and delivery of spare parts for Thales, monopoles, secondary surveillance radar nationwide. So, the supply and delivery. Hello.
Proceed.
So, the post-qualification report for the supply and delivery of spare parts for Thales monopoles, secondary surveillance radar was conducted, and this is the approved ABC, which is 5 million, and the date opening of this bid, or this is a direct contracting. So Pacific Hemisphere offered or negotiated bid amount of 5 million, which is equivalent to the ABC. So as the background, the project supply and delivery of spare parts for Thales monopoles cellular surveillance radar nationwide was directly negotiated with Pacific Hemisphere Development Corporation, the exclusive Philippine distributor. So Pacific Hemisphere tendered their bid proposal and initially rated as passed during the negotiation meeting for having submitted the required documents specified in the checklist using a non-discretionary pass-fail criteria and undergo bid evaluation. Bid offered by Pacific Hemisphere Development Corporation was evaluated and calculated with amount was equal to the approved budget for the contract and recommended for undergo qualification process. Our findings for the certificate of field chips registration, responsive. Certificate of exclusive distributorship, responsive. For registration certificate for the Securities and Exchange Commission, responsive. Mayor's permit, responsive. Certified true copy issued by the City of Makati dated January 28, 2022. Valid until 31 December 2022, responsive. Tax clearance, responsive. For Class B document, no joint venture, so not applicable. So, technical document, conformity with technical specifications, see attached evaluation for the end user. It is also confirmed that this is the exact item requested by the end user. So for the financial document, this is the 5 million equivalent to the ABC. So for post-qualification document, PLGIPS also, it was verified in their office this morning at Amarsola Street, 136, ADPC building, 4th floor. It is confirmed, and some pictures were taken with the originals. So the latest income and business tax of Pacific Hemisphere Development Corporation also responsive. other appropriate business licenses. Pacific Hemisphere Development Corporation submitted SEC registration certificate, registration of business permit, issued by ECT Makati, responsive. The latest audited financial statement, responsive. Statement of single largest completed contract, also responsive. The submitted amount of SLCC, 7,500,000. It is responsive. And then for recommendations, reference to the above post-qualification evaluation, Pacific Hemisphere Corporation, or PHT, was found to be responsive as to legal, technical, and financial requirements for the above-mentioned project. In this regard, the Bid and Award Committee Technical Working Group Alpha recommends the awarding of the project supply and delivery of spare parts for Thales Monopol secondary surveillance radar nationwide to Pacific Hemisphere Development Corporations amounting to 5 million pesos, submitted by Technical Working Group, signed.
Okay.
So the hard copy document was now passed around for signature of the remaining TWG, including the head of TWG. So these are the documents compared with the originals during the post-qual visit. That's all. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Moises. Okay, to the members of the BAC, we have some clarification or motion for this recommendation of TWG.
Motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Amen.
We move to adopt the recommendation of the Technical Working Group to award the project supply and delivery of spare parts for Thales MSSR nationwide to Pacific Hemisphere Development Corporation in the amount of 5 million pesos.
Thank you. Can you second the motion?
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Arnel. Okay, with the recommendation of TWG, first motion and second motion, the BAC adopt the recommendation that the project supply and delivery of spare parts for Thales MSSR nationwide be awarded to Pacific Hemisphere Development Corporation with the award of 5 million. Thank you. Okay, do we have any other matters?
Mr. Chair, last item for the technical working group, again, if the BAC would allow, Mr. Chair, the ADMS, Mr. Chair, would like to present the project wait.
Okay lang nga, Torne, mahaba pang oras.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. The ADMS, Mr. Chair, would like to present the project preventive maintenance for
Construction attorney construction of collection building. Procurement.
Sorry, construction of the collection building for pre-procurement conference for the project, sir. If the BAC would allow, sir. This is just a short presentation, sir.
Collection building, di ba yung kanina yon?
Sorry sir, third floor. Third floor pala po. Pre-procurement for third floor.
It's the improvement or rehabilitation of third floor administrative building, sir.
Okay. Sige. Okay.
Sir, the ADMS engineer Carla will present from the ADMS.
Attorney, si Glenn na lang po.
Ay, Glenn. Go ahead, Glenn. Please share your document now. Please share your screen now.
Yes, sir. I-share ko lang yung screen. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. The end user would like to present
the pre-procurement of improvement or rehabilitation of third floor admin building. So, ito po yung magiging interior perspective niya.
Just clarification, Glenn, yan yung pinanggalingan ninyo?
Hindi po, sir. Sa
Sir,
second floor kami
if I may,
nanggaling.
if I may, sir, yung pong existing na area po ng ano, sir, yun din po yung i-develop, i-improve natin, yung third floor po mismo.
Yung kinalalagyan ng finance?
Yes, sir. Yun din po yung i-improve natin. Yung third floor po mismo.
Kasama yung pinanggalingan ninyo? O hindi?
Hindi po, sir. Sa second floor po yung pinanggalingan po namin.
Okay, sige. Okay, sige. Thank you.
Glenn, proceed.
Okay, sir. And then, ito po yung magiging division plan. And then yung proposed floor plan for the third floor. Tapos yung mga detailed sections. Then yung toilet details niya. Okay. The project title is Improvement or Rehabilitation of Third Floor Admin Building. The source of fund is CAAP APP Fund CY 2022 with ABC of 21,112,793 pesos and 9 centavos. These are the minimum technical personnel requirements and also the minimum major equipment requirement. Required pickup license, small B license category C and D, building and industrial plant. The project duration is 165 calendar days. The applicable fee for the bidding documents is 11,200, inclusive of 12% VAT. Under ITB clause 10-K, certificate of site inspection, duly signed by Lieutenant Colonel Valentino A. Junella, Aerodrome Development Management Service, CAAP main office, or his duly authorized representative is required to be submitted. This shall include all the following documents as follows. Ito po yung sample ng certificate of site inspection, then yung company ID, airport logbook, or CAAP logbook to kasi dito sa main office yung building. Under ITB clause 5.2, for this purpose, contracts similar to the project refer to contracts which have the same major categories of work, which shall be building, construction, improvement, or rehabilitation or repair, with ABC of 21,112,793 and 9 centavos. Subcontracting is not allowed. These are the requirements for ITB clause 10.3 and 11.2. And also for ITB clause 10.4, the required key personnel, then the general experience, and also the relevant experience, as shown. And for ITB clause 10.5, the major equipment. Bids not complying with the above instruction shall be disqualified. Under 11.2, bid exceeding the ABC of the project shall be disqualified. Then the special conditions of the contract. GCC clause 7.2 and 13 and 15.2 as shown. And then the project technical details. Ito po yung magiging scope of work ng project. For the structural works, meron po tayong demolition works with a total coverage area of 1,804 and 98 square meter. Then concrete and masonry works with the following required area. Under structural works again, the steel works. And for architectural works, we have tile works, carpentry works, painting works, doors and windows, signages. For the electrical works, we have lighting and power conduit and fittings, wires and cables, electrical wiring devices, lighting fixtures, boxes and pull boxes, air conditioning units, conduits and fittings, air conditioning units, conduits and fittings, wires and cables, data and telephone system conduits and fittings, data and telephone system wires and cables, data and telephone system electrical wiring devices, data and telephone system, boxes and pull boxes, grounding system, panel board or circuit breaker or wire gutter, feeder sub-feeder wires and cables, feeder or sub-feeder conduits and fittings, hangers, supports, and termination accessories, and transformer assembly. Under mechanical works, we have air conditioning unit, piping, hangers and support, air conditioning unit, piping again, and hangers and support, with the following set of outdoor ECCU, ventilation equipment and accessories. And then for plumbing works, we have sewer line and water line, fixtures, and all the scope of work of these items must be in accordance with the approved plans and specification. Quality and types of materials must conform to the specification and must be approved by the project in charge of the CAAP. The contractor shall be responsible for all permits necessary in the project implementation. All expenses shall be incorporated in the contractor's overhead cost and shall not be considered as pay item. That's all, Mr. Chair. The end user would like to request the posting of the rehabilitation or improvement of the third floor admin building.
Okay, query, Glenn. Doon sa mga air conditioning na install mo, puro single phase ba yan? Electrical? Doon sa mga air conditioning na ilalagay, single phase lahat na nakalagay lang doon. Pakibalik na doon.
Sir, single phase lang po.
Bakit kaya maliliit lang yung wala, di kayo gagamit ng malalaki yung floor type na mga aircon?
Sir, puro sa ceiling po yung nakakabit yung natin, yung mga aircon natin. Hindi na po tayo may specific area lang po for the floor standing unit po.
Okay, so
pero
kahit
puro sa ceiling po.
Yung mga floor standing puro single phase.
Yes, sir. Maliliit lang po yung yung capacity nung yung propose natin, kaya single phase lang po.
And then doon sa mayroon kayong transformer Doon sa electrical, ibig sabihin ilalagay yun sa baba.
Sir, dry type transformer po yung naka-propose.
Saan located yun?
Saan located yun? Sa electrical room, sir.
Sa baba?
Step down. Sa third floor po mismo, sir. Sa step down po siya, sir.
Okay, sige. So at least mapapalitan lahat ng mga wiring doon sa...
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. Okay, TWG as well as the other members, also secretariat, meron kayong mga question?
Sir, for the technical working group, we don't have any further questions, sir. We would like also to recommend for the posting of the project, sir.
Okay, thank you, Attorney. Members of the BAC, comment? Question?
Mr. Chair, also
Second.
like to move and adopt the recommendation of the NGOshan and the technical working group for the posting of this project. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Arnel. Any second?
I second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Arnel. So with the request of NGOshan, recommendation of TWG, first motion and second motion, the BAC adopt the recommendation for the posting of the project. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so any more other matters?
No other matters, Mr. Chair, from the technical working group.
Okay, before we go, we know that the term of our chairman, who is the chairman of the BAC, will end if there is the extension by June 30. So with that, we could not proceed with other activities. So how are we going to treat these pending issues or these pending activities? Is it proper to temporarily suspend the activities of BAC Alpha until such time that we have a new chairman?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead, Attorney.
Sir, considering, say for example, sir, the extension will not, is not yet issued, sir. It is prudent for the BAC Alpha, sir, to suspend any activities, considering that we do not have the chairman, and there is, of course, the need to reconstitute the membership or the composition of the Deans and Awards Committee, as well as perhaps the technical working group and the BAC Secretariat. So it is better, sir, that we suspend the any activities until the reconstitution or the changes will be effected, sir.
Okay, thank you, Attorney. So my follow-up question is, we scheduled an opening of bid on July 12. So is the Secretariat is allowed to issue bid bulletin for the change of schedule of the opening of bids?
Sir, in my opinion, sir, considering that in the previous years, in other projects as well, there are instances wherein the bid bulletin was only signed by the vice chairman considering that there is a change in administration or change in composition of the Bids and Awards Committee, then it will be okay for the Secretariat to just issue the necessary bid bulletin to adjust the dates and the other activities of the BAC Alpha, sir.
Can we not direct the Secretariat to prepare now the bid bulletin and then will be signed by the present chairman?
Yes, we can do that, sir. In fact, that would be better, sir. Even before the June 30, we will just the BAC Secretariat will prepare it and adjust the procurement activities to a date which is feasible na magkakaroon na ng panibagong mga kung meron man sir or kung meron mang extension na mga officers or management for the authority. I suggest sir, I also agree sir with your proposal na for the Secretariat to prepare now the necessary due bulletin for the signature of the present bids and awards committee.
Okay, so Secretariat siguro mas maganda 'yon para para mai-close natin muna temporarily itong mga procurement na to. Kaysa ihayaan natin na nakabitin na kaagad. Did you take note, Secretariat? Nandito ba, Secretariat? Mayroon pang 1 minute
BACSEC? Sir, actually Sir Elbot naman sir is with me sir. So
okay.
Being the overall head sir, he can direct the other head of the Alpha, Bravo or Charlie, or for this particular case or for Alpha to prepare the necessary bid bulletin for all the projects pending sir.
Okay, sige. So take note, Elbot. Okay, so with that, mayroon pa pang ibang issue? Or other matters pa? Wala na. Okay, so with that, since this is our last meeting for the BAC Alpha, so thank you sa mga members, Secretariat, TWG, other members. So thank you at sa tulong niyo para magawa natin makapagkaroon tayo ng output dito sa BAC Alpha. In behalf of our chairman, maraming salamat sa lahat. Thank you.
Maraming salamat Sir Arnold.
Thank you sir.
Thank you sir.
See you sa next BAC.